what is the role of L&D? There have been quite a number of issues and challenges. Sometimes you wonder, do we need L&D? Do they have any relevance in the organization? Are they even necessary? Sometimes you also see issues like, okay, I think L&D is just so minute that it could be under HR. Is that true? Okay, so today, as we examine Organization Capacity Audit, OCA, looking at the instrument for evaluating effectiveness, we will see why L&D is critical for a surviving, thriving, prosperous, progressive organization. So in today's topic, I will talk about three major modules. The first is the existence of an organism or organization. Why do they exist? What are the objectives of establishment? Private, NGO, public sector, or whatever. And then we shall be looking at the roles of L&D in building corporate capabilities. The role of L&D in supporting individuals' competencies. The roles of L&D in helping team effectiveness. And ultimately, how L&D support, consolidate, and in the end, help businesses to advance their frontiers. And finally, we'll look at OCA audits. What does it mean? And how can L&D participate in the design of interventions to solve OCA audit outcomes and reports? Once again, my name is Dr. Jegede. I'm very glad to be here as we interact, as we could learn, as we collaborate, and as we could share together. Okay, so organism. Now, the first thing that will come to mind is when you see an organization, what are we talking about? So it is a system. You see that on one hand, you see a system. You can see the intertwine. You can see the sequence. You can see the equation that exists. That's what makes it a system. The same thing if you go to a human being. A human being, you can see where it comes from. An atom, a molecule, a cell, tissue, organ system, and a complete human being. So you will understand that an organization or an organism is a composition of several cells and several tissues and organs make up a human being. Likewise, every organization that exists is made up of several components, and those components can be divided to as human being, or better still, you can call them departments, functions, portfolios, jobs, tasks, duties, and responsibilities. So you could liken it to a brick in a whole building. So what make up a building? One brick at a time. So thousands and hundreds of bricks give you that building. Likewise, every organization too, as they exist, as they evolve, they are made up of quite a number of components: HR, finance, internal control, production, quality assurance, regulatory, marketing, engineering, sales, and a host of all these things make up and represent what an organization is. Now, quickly, let me take you through something important. We are faced with quite a number of global disruption. The world took a different dynamics when COVID-19 happened. And when it happened, the world that we have today is not the world we used to have in the past. Things change so drastically. The way of life, the way of communications, the interactions, the corporate activities, and new things evolve. We have new ways of life, new models, new methods, new businesses, and new frontiers. So all this came up to tell us that the corporate world has been redesigned. The past, where we're coming from, the present, where we are, and the future organization. So as we look at the past, the present, and the future, L&D interfaces in this reality. And L&D comes into this place and say, how does our organizations, our departments, and individuals in order to be able to consolidate, support, and help business to survive in this challenging world? Therefore, it is important for us to understand that when we ask the question, why do businesses exist? And what do they intend to achieve? We'll be asking ourselves a whole lot of questions with regards to all these things. Why do they exist? What do we gain? What do we benefit? Now, in the past, businesses exist to satisfy investors exclusively. They want to maximize profit, and that's all. But as you come to the new era, Charles Schwab defines that businesses exist to meet stakeholders' expectations, not shareholders' expectations. So, what are the stakeholders? Investors want to maximize profit. Customers want to get the best services. Employees want to have the best experience and career fulfillment. Community want you to be able to live with them and support them. And the government wants you to comply with the regulatory issues, taxes. So government needs your taxes to benefit the society, to benefit the environment, and to make the municipal a better place. So you can see that organizations have moved from the era and impression of shareholders to stakeholders, from satisfying investors and business owners to satisfying these 5 criteria: investors, employees, customers, communities, and the government. So when we have this clarity, we will understand that everybody has an expectation from the activities of the business, not just to give the entire value to the business owner, but employee wants satisfaction too. They want to be happy too. Customers want to be happy too. Government want to get money from you. And the host community, whether online communities or physical communities, they want you to satisfy them. So as you look at these issues, it makes L&D people to start understanding that, okay, businesses are like human beings. They were born, they grow, they mature, and they can die. So when you understand that business has a life cycle, birth, growth, maturity, and decline. Between 1980 to 2000, 50,000 businesses have shut down in Nigeria. They are no longer in existence. You can also bear in mind that as you go around, you can see that in the last 2 years, the rate at which terrorism, kidnapping, militancy, and a host of social vices increase. Marvelous. Why did they increase? Because the businesses that we take them don't exist. The businesses, the corporations, the organizations that will better the economy, they are going to extinction. So when you see businesses going down into extinction, the effect is going to be seen in the community. Crime rate will grow, raping will grow, terrorism will grow, kidnapping will grow, militancy will grow, because many people are out of jobs, many people are out of relevance, and they are not gainfully economically relevant. So when you see this perspective, you now see that, oh, a business can die because it's born, start up, it's growing, it's maturing, it can decline. But that's why you see L&D saying, no. We don't have to die. Many of businesses have died. We don't have to die. Many have shut down. We don't have to shut down. Many don't exist again. We don't have to be like that. What do we do? Is to begin to check. Do you know that between in 2001 and 2020 alone, more than 105 microfinance banks have closed down? Where are the staff? Where are the employees? They are now in the communities. They are now part of militants, kidnappers, terrorists, cyber criminals, because the businesses that will give them livelihood are no longer in existence. So as L&D experts, you must understand that businesses also are like human beings. You have a lot of startups. The next is to move to growth, and the growth to maturity, and then to revival, to put them back in status, in shape, so that they can survive a whole lot of numbers. Now, this is just to explain why businesses exist. Remember, as L&D experts, that you are also part of the business. I like what Mr. Ademola said, that you are a business partner. You are part of the organization. And therefore, you are critical to the survival, the growth, the advancement of the business. So what are the challenges of today? You can see there is global disruption of life. New ways, new methods, new learning, new experience, new skills, new approaches, new attitudes, new things. So the remote work has come to play, driving businesses through technology and IT, convergence of industries, growing technologies, customers' sophistications, and customers are becoming more harder, more difficult to play. You can see the strategic advertising and competitive market efforts. Emergent market, new products, new economy, new ways. Emerging market phased out Nokia. Emerging market phased out Peugeot in Nigeria. Emerging market overtook First Bank and Union Bank, with GT Bank and Zenith Bank, the top leading bank in Nigeria. Emergent market brings new businesses on the front line, and then all businesses. In the time past, we used to have Cadbury and PZ and Unilever. They were topping, but where are they today? Because emerging market has come. New thinking and new values. We need new thinking, new values in businesses, We need new thinking, new approaches in driving business success. We need new thinking and new perspective in building capabilities that will outmatch and outrun the world we live today. We need globalization. Local businesses want to be on the forefront of relevance. So when you look at all these things, it tells us that there is something that is not right about the business. And then, in addition, you look at the roles of leadership, the board, the management team, the founders, the investors. They set the pace for the business. They set strategy, they set policy, they set oversight, accountability. And then when they do this at the top, it trickles down and gives you the outcomes. What are the outcomes? That's what you see at line management level: ethical culture, excellent performance, effective control, and legitimacy. So as you look at the reason why business exists, we must understand that whether we are in the banking industry, or we are in the financial fintech industry, or we are in manufacturing industry, or we are in education industry, or we are a consultant, we must understand that the real question is it our way you are doing against your history. You know, your child comes back from school and says, "Mom, look at my report card." And as you look at the report card, you see 60 in mathematics. And you say, "Oh, but my child, why did you score 60?" You say, "Mommy, but I scored 50 before. I'm progressing." You say, "Yes, I know you are progressing. But where do you keep 70? And where do you keep 80? Where do you keep 90? So the real question is it how well you are doing today against your history. Of course, First Bank did well than the past year. UBA did better than the past year. Union Bank did well than the past year. Wema Bank did well in the past year. But how did GT Bank overtook them? How did Zen Bank overtook them? So the real question is how well you are doing against your history, but how you are doing against your competitors. Even though you may have done a great job by pinpointing and studying your market segment, the job is not complete until you are able to check what your competitors are doing. So that will take us to but then ask one simple question. Anybody can answer me here. And the question is, has L&D, why do you think you are relevant in an organization? Yes. Why do you think you are relevant in an organization? Yes.
Okay, so anyone can opt to answering the question.
Okay, let me respond to that question. Thank you, Bob. As L&D, I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can.
Okay, as L&D practitioner, just like what Dr. is saying, things are changing. And if things are changing, things are coming up with new things and innovations and all that. And people have to learn it. And people have to learn these new things that are coming on board, that are evolving. Then L&D will have a role to play in that regard by taking them through that knowledge, that acquisition of that knowledge that will help people to get to that human capital level that will not help the organization to create wealth and all that. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that L&D exists just to help to shoot up that required knowledge to function in the ever-changing business world. And that's just it. Thank you.
So, thank you so much, Mr. Basiki. That was profound of you. You are very right, because things are changing. So because L&D, we have to key into the changing and evolving environment to be able to support in building capability. So now that will take us to the next module. L&D, what do we do? What exactly is the role of L&D? And sometimes you see people talk about the L, but they don't talk about the D. They talk about learning. And oftentimes also people talk about the training aspect of learning and abandon other elements of learning, supposing that training is learning and learning is training. But L&D will tell that no, training is just one of the interventions, one of the methods, one of the approaches of intervening or bridging the gap. So what do we do? And as we look at human capital, human beings in every department, in every location, in every function, L&D is concerned whether this guy is well polished, is well embellished to deliver the job mandate and expectations and responsibility. This person has been brought to the system. This person has been employed and is operating at a managerial position. Does he have the capabilities? Is it delivering? So when HR sits down and HR is managing, don't forget, human resource management. The role of HR is to manage people. And as it manages people, it helps people by providing direction within the organization, helping them to deliver through the provisions of the instrument within the HR thematics. And then HR reassigns them to various functions and portfolios. And HR is watching day one, day two, week one, week two, providing HR services, HR support, HR assistance, and whatever is needed to perform. But when HR sees that, oh, the report I'm getting is suboptimal, it's not delivering, it's not performing, it's not having results, what does HR do? HR brings him out and he says, hey, doctor, what's the problem? What I got for your line manager is that you are not delivering. And then your appraisal shows that you are also poor here, you are poor here, you are poor here. So what do we do? And then HR calls L&D, learning and development. There is a challenge. I have one of my staff is not doing well. And then we've tried this and that, but we are not getting it. You are an expert in L&D. Please, what can we do with this talent? That's why you can see whether you call it L&D or talent development. So the role of L&D is to pick that talent and say, this guy is useful. This guy is a substance. I can see talent in this guy. So give it to me. Give it to me. I'm going to work on this guy. And when I finish with this guy, I will deploy it back to you so that he can perform. And then L&D picks up the guy and they look at him. They diagnose this guy. I said, John, what's the problem? What's the challenge? And as they begin to diagnose and look at the challenge with it, they look at the TN, training needs analysis, they look at the competency-based evaluation, and they say, John, I think your problem is not training. Because if I send on 4, 5, 6, 7 training now, will this solve the problem? Okay, I am going to attach it to a mentor. There is somebody somewhere who does this kind of thing, and he has done it very well. So I'm going to design a coaching module for you, how to do reconciliation, and how to have your eyes on details. I can see that you're very, very emotionally unbalanced. So this guy has done this thing for 4 years and it can help you. So I'm going to design something with you, and I'm going to tell HR and your line manager. And then the L&D calls and says, I want to see you. And then HR and then the head of department and L&D sits down. And L&D says, I have interrogated this guy. We've had conversations. I have also checked his past records. And I've checked his appraisal comment too. I think what it needs is to go through a month coaching. 2 days training won't solve his problem. He will go, come back. He will hear nice words. He will come back. Nothing will happen. So I think, allow me to recommend that this guy go for a coaching on this. And then I'm going to design the principles. Look at it. If it's okay, L&D designs. And then it goes through the HR. HR says, okay, it's fine. The line manager, it's fine. The guy, he says, fine. And then L&D says, okay, so we'll configure you with this program, and then the program will run for 1 month. Now, after month 1, we'll check you. After month 3, we'll check you to see whether that I'll be able to close out the gap in you. Is that okay? Says, okay. So L&D is not just there to come and be running just training. It is not about doing. It's not about activity. It's about the deliverable. It's not about just running training, but how has it impacted? So you can see the cacophonies. L&D is interested in your knowledge. It's interested in your abilities. It's interested in your skills. It's interested in your continuous education. It's interested in your training. It's interested in your experience. It's interested in your judgment. Judgment comes from experience, maturity, innovation, thinking, creativity, wisdom. L&D helps you to shape him for relevance, not only for yourself, but for the department and then for the system. Remember that the performance of a business is a subsume or a component of individual performances. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 comes together to deliver what it's all about. So now, how do O and L&D support organizations' performances? That's what we want to see. Now, it is important to state here that organizational effectiveness is critical for L&D. Therefore, L&D is not just focusing at individual at a time, but it's looking at how does it move as a sequence or simultaneously affecting the business. So you can see that in organizational effectiveness, that is where L&D plays. Your role is, how do we build an effective system? How do we build a performance system? Because when you see the graph of a business shooting up, the first thing is, who do it? Human being. How does it happen? L&D have been supporting learning and development and innovations and improvement and growth and the diversity of skills. So the L&D is, we want to see that we have resources, people resources, human resources, talents, skills, competencies, knowledge, capabilities to deliver. You want to see that there is high quality of internal processes that support that reality. You want to see that we are able to satisfy our stakeholders. I deal with those stakeholders, investors. I talk about the investors. I talk about the employees. I talk about the customers. I talk about the communities. Communities include your vendors, those who are sourced to. They include the immediate environment where you operate. It includes your community online, the Facebook community, the Twitter community, the LinkedIn community, the Instagram community. It includes them. It includes the government, state, federal, all regulatory activities. So, and they want to see, are we satisfying all of them? And then how do we manage simultaneously opposite? What does it mean? It means at every point in time, the business is healthy. So L&D is critical about not just gaps of the moment, but the future. L&D is interested in flourishing organization. Are we flourishing? Are we performing? Are we making money? Are we fair? Are we at the value? So L&D is critical in their thinking about how do we build a totally built organization? How do we build a functional organization? Because they know that the world has changed so fast. In the past, we have service workers. Service workers, just call them to do this thing, that's all. You have knowledge workers. People carry 30 years experience, 40 years experience, 50 years experience. But today, we have moved from just carrying 30, 20, 20 years experience into a creative industry. Those who develop those apps, they are young people. They don't have 30 years experience. Today, go and see young people as executive director. They don't have 50 years experience, but they can outmatch bigger corporations. Shall I shock you again? That Zenith Bank and GT Bank, Wema Bank can give back to them 3 times. Wema Bank is about 78 years, or if not 80 years in existence. But when you talk about GT Bank, don't mention Zenith Bank. First Bank is more than 105 years. Union Bank is more than 105 years. Zenith Bank is just about 28 or 30. They outmatch them. Why? They do not have grandpa in those places. They have young people who have creative industry, creative mind. So what I'm saying that L&D is building creativity, not donkeys of years of experience. Maybe I should shock you. What takes us 10 years to acquire 10 years ago, you can acquire it in 1 year because you have technology to back you up. So the nature of work has changed, and that is the reality that L&D is trying to print. I say it has changed, and L&D uses a lot of interventions to support performance, whether it's intelligence, whether it is knowledge, whether it is formal learning or informal learning. But you can see that L&D has taken off from the traditional, regular, primitive classroom learning into using technology to facilitate learning, to predict the future expectations, and to plan ahead of what the future holds for businesses and for organizations. So in the world of businesses today, it has gone beyond the traditional, regular classroom learning. It has gone beyond ordinary, I'm reading a book. It has gone beyond the regular knowledge sharing only. It has gone to how do we interface with technology? How do we interface with computer? How do we bring in the relationship between man and machine to deliver corporate investitures? Artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. So in all, L&D is beyond just running training. As people say that, okay, we are running training here. It has gone beyond that one. If you cannot live, if you cannot understand how technology evolves and shape business today, such a business is not going to survive the test of time. Besides, I need to state here and mention further that as you look at the changes in the landscape, the greatest challenge to management of any organization, whether startups, whether major, whether marginal, whether global, whether micro, whether indigenous business, the greatest challenge now, not even next decade, now, will be to change fast enough to keep pace with new technology, new markets, new values. Customers want new values, not old values. Employees want new experience, not old experiences. Market wants new innovations. The same product. Now, let me ask a question. Has customer changed? It has not changed, but they are repackaging. That's what the customer wants. That's what they want. Do you observe that you have not changed? It's the same way that we saw last year that you are seeing. But what happened? You change your clothes, you change your wares, new market, new values. Businesses, corporations, organizations, they want new values. Employees want a place of fulfillment, new values, the market, the government, the communities, new value. Either we take hold of the future or the future takes hold of us. We have seen so many businesses closing down. They have shut down. Why? Because they fail to take hold of the future. They fail to understand that the future has changed so fast, so quick than what we used to have in the past. They fail to understand that business is a battlefield that must be won with serious preparation. They fail to understand that the knowledge we carried last year cannot survive in today's environment. They fail to understand that China outmatched America, India outmatched UK. They fail to understand that Singapore, that country, has 50 years of unsurpassed success in the Southeast Asia. They fail to understand that in the Asia Minor, Malaysia has succeeded many 30 years of prominent business experience. I was doing research in the US, and I was looking at the top 4,100 companies, in 1980s and 1990. Do you know that in 1980s, Japanese has about 25 businesses, topping the top leading corporations in the world. But by late 1990s, only 2 remains. And by 2022, as I speak, all those businesses that were there, they have gone down. Today we have Amazon. So today we have businesses that are very young, outmatching these giants that have been in Asia for more than 400, 300, 200 years. So they must understand that either we take hold of the future. I see GT Bank, Zenith Bank, outmatch First Bank, Union Bank, and all those banks. Why? Either we take hold of the future. Do you know that Zenith Bank is just by one man, GT Bank by just 2 friends? Echo Bank is owned by West Africa, yet they could not defeat Zenith Bank in Nigeria. First Bank has been on for more than 110 years, yet they could not defeat Zenith Bank. Either we take hold of the future, or the future will take hold of us. That is why L&D understands this reality that if you are going to survive, whether you are running your own business, whether you are running for somebody somewhere, you need to understand that things have changed. Now, I like what Trocha said, my mentor. He says, so how do we now build organizational effectiveness? It says mindset, organizational mindset. How do we configure our organizations? When CEOs and leaders don't see the value for L&D, then how can they succeed? When they say L&D, you can't just match it with somebody over there. Is it important? That's why we fail. Because they have not seen that L&D is critical in changing mindset. They think because I have PhD, I don't need to learn again. They think because I have MSc, I don't need to learn again. They think because I'm a director, so I don't need to learn again. We have forgotten that in the journey of learning, I need to unlearn and then to relearn and to learn new ways, new things, new methods. Why are we here today? We are co-learning. We're learning so that we can add more value. We learn today, we learn for tomorrow, we learn day by day in order to change the dynamics, to change the pattern, to change the product, to change the philosophy, in order to have great outcomes and great impact and great success. Why? Why do people feel that, okay, L&D is not adding value? Because they don't understand that there's a problem that you're standing, which is not making organizations to succeed by recognizing that L&D is critical. Ergo, status. Yeah, we are stuck in one knowledge. This is what I know. I have been doing HR for 40 years. Who are you? I have been doing this one for 40 years. Who are you? We are stuck. Fear or risk of failure. Why should we invest in training? Why do we invest in learning? Why do we design training? What is the value of elements? I can't see it. Risk of failure, uncertainty, change. We have inept leaders. Leaders who don't want to change. Leaders who say no. We have that challenge. Time will fail me because we are far spent. And then we have the law of emergence. When one's comfort zone, individual, group, organization with the unknown is greater, then you're going to have issues. So that's why L&D comes in to bring about inquiry, curiosity, exploration, imagination, experimentation, discovery, openness, trust, shift in mental and emotional frameworks, manifest to develop, and the emergence of newness and novel mental frameworks which occur naturally and generate sense. So change management is embedded seriously in learning so that we can build a new frontier. L&D understand that we are dealing with critical generations, and to be able to provide a systemic, well-defined approaches to managing all these generations, L&D stands in the vortex or designing interface, helps to frame and to acculturate different generations, baby boomers, generations X, millennials, and Z. L&D understand that all these people are key players in our organization, and we need to manage them if we're going to have true value, true success, and then true corporate performances. It is important to also understand that as you champion organizational effectiveness, L&D is asking the question. It's looking at the system and it's asking. It's looking at the capabilities and it's asking. Our workforce talent, to what extent do employees in our organization have the competencies required to deliver the strategy, and to what extent are they committed to it? L&D is asking. Speed, our workforce speed. To what extent are our employees able to move quickly and to make important things happen fast? L&D is asking. Our mindset. To what extent do our friend, our organization, our departments, our people, our team have a culture or identity that reflects what we stand for and how our work deliver this common value, our accountability? And this ask, to what extent are our employees able to ensure execution through a mindset that supports performance, our collaboration? To what extent are our employees able to collaborate in ways that gain efficiency and leverage our efficiency? To what extent do our employees manage the cost of operation? You can see why L&D is concerned, why L&D is so much worried about the direction, our learning. To what extent do our employees generate new ideas with impact and generate those ideas across boundaries? Our leadership. To what extent do our employees have the brand for leadership that direct leaders and on what result to deliver, and how? Our strategic unity. To what extent do our employees have a clear strategic point of view? Do they understand our salesmanship, our theme? To what extent, as our friend, keep promises to customers with product and services? Ellen is asking, sales, are you selling? All the trainings, all the programs, all the retreats, all the seminars, are you selling? So Ellen is critiquing, is asking the question. Accounting, are we doing quality accounting jobs? Are we having errorless accounting? Our internal control, are we doing quality control? The system, are we performing? So he's asking our salesmanship, reliability, dependability, and accuracy. Do our customers complain of our reliability? Our responsiveness, promptness of service. Do we have people that respond quickly to customers' inquiries and issues and complaints? Our assurance, trust, and confidence. Our empathy, personal care and attention to our customers, to our staff, to our partners, and presentation, the appearances of ourselves and our facilities. So L&D is asking, L&D want to know, because if something is wrong with our learning and leadership and strategy and performance and talent and speed and share mindset and accountability and collaboration and efficiency, L&D is asking, then there is a problem, because L&D want to support, L&D want to help, L&D want to give value that will help to propel and push the organization forward. So you can see why L&D is critical. You see, L&D is helping to see how do we support alignment, how do we support workforce, how do we support workplace, how do we support productivity, how do we support rewards? Because through L&D, you can see alignment. The role of L&D is to see alignment, linking employees with the organization so that HR can have stressless environments. L&D is looking at delivering workforce capabilities, learning, continuous learning, redesigning job, assisting people, intervention, coaching, succession planning. L&D is working with HR and every line that to deliver this. L&D is working to see sustainable working arrangement, a relationship, and environment. L&D is interested in team building. L&D is interested in telecommunity. L&D is interested in workplace design. L&D is interested in diversity. L&D is interested in relationship. L&D is interested in safety. L&D is interested in supporting organizational and employee performance. That is the ultimate performance management. The business is performing. The graph will show. The book of account will show. The customers survey will show. That's why when they say survey, L&D want to see. What is our customer survey report? I want to see. Do they like our staff? Are they complaining? So L&D takes insight from the complaint of the customer survey and say, wow, there's a problem here. There is a problem here. If our customers are complaining of our efficiency, effectiveness, responses, then our staff needs to understand the importance of efficiency, effectiveness, and response. If there's a problem with our partners and our system could not hit the target. So L&D is interested in the sales report because L&D is going to count intervention that we are far away. Our time is fast spent. I'm so sorry. I wish we can go on and on and on, but I will quickly go back quickly to the last slide, which is OCA. OCA. What is OCA? Now you see, If you want to treat a patient, here is a patient who approaches the doctor. Now, doctor cannot do anything on the patient without first understanding what is wrong. One of the reasons why many people, whether L&D or HR consultants, fail is because they want to administer drugs without first understanding the symptoms, the sickness of the patient. So you see somebody come to a system, you say, okay, we are having these performance issues and that. What do you think we will do? You say, okay, you need training on sales, you need training. It doesn't work that way. And that's why OCA gives you a clear understanding of how do you manage organizational issues. That's why I use this scenario of a patient. If a patient walks to the hospital, there is no hospital that will treat a patient without laboratory test results. Why? You must know what is wrong because almost every ailment has similar symptoms. So if you see a symptom in an organization, it does not necessarily mean they are suffering from a particular problem you identify in company A. Therefore, OCA gives you the evaluation of an entire system. You know, there's accounting audit and control audit, there's raw material audit, there's engineering audit, there's HR audit. But when you're not doing OCA, it means you are doing an entire system audit, general body work, like a vehicle. So in that, you're going to audit the entire organization. Every part of the organization will be audited. And then you take it from phases: governance, strategy, leadership, HR, account, control, procurement, quality assurance. Every area of the organization will be touched. That's what OCA is all about. So the essence of OCA is to understand that every component is important. This is a human anatomy and physiology. There's no part of the body that you can say it's not important. Take away the eyes, the hands, the heart, the kidney, the liver. Every component of a human being is critical for a human being, and that's what makes up a whole human being. The head is not a human being. The legs are not human being. The hands are not human being. So the entire component is human being. And because of that, OCA enables to do an X-ray of the entire system. And the essence is to discover what is wrong and the degree of what is wrong. Otherwise, we'll miss it. So you have to diagnose. But in diagnosing, you must dialogue. We call it dialogic OD or dialogic HR or dialogic L&D. It means you must engage people. You must have one-on-one interaction with people. So to help us unravel the challenges of an organization, you have to understand that when you see a problem with an organization, the problem is not on the top, it's at the bottom. When Diamond Bank was suffering from serious epilepsy and was about to die, you will not see it on the building. The building was still there and their cars are still there, but something had gone wrong in the inside, and that's called root cause analysis. So you can see that when you see a tree now and you see the leaf falling, the falling leaf is not the problem. The falling leaf is just a symptom. The real problem of that tree is in the root. You can see in the root. So OCA unravels the problem, because when manager tells you story, we are having a problem, we are not performing, we are not selling, so give us a training. That's beautiful. But if you don't do OCA, you will only be treating the symptoms and not the problem. So OCA enables to come into a relationship with the exact problem by diagnosing, by extracting, by looking into the nooks and crannies before you can make an impact. So if you go to a new place as L&D and they give you a new job, say, now you are the head of L&D, design training for all. You say, no, I want to first audit the system first. Because if you design a training for that organization or training plan, beautiful ones, you are treating symptoms. You have not treated the problem. Because if you don't have the diagnosis result, you will not be able to succeed. So what we do is I say, I want to carry out my own OCA. I want to audit the system. When I audit the system, when I diagnose the system, I'll be able to know what is the problem. So you can use different models. But for me, I've been using this model, the process. How do you do things in this place? Just tell me the workflow from point 1 to point 2. How do you do it? 2, the people who do what? What's the role? What's the role? Are they doing it well? Are they knowledgeable? Do they know it? And then the policy. Is there a guideline? Is there a documentary evidence that proves the process and proves the people? Can I see? And then the practice, which is the amalgamation of the entire philosophy and the culture. So when you see this, it helps you and gives you a better and a proper guide. Because the essence is identify the weak areas and then find solution so that you can eliminate the problem. That's the essence. But if you treat the eyes and there's still problem with the leg, when you treat the eyes, you come to the leg. But with OCA, you treat the entire system at a go. So how do you manage OCA cycle? Diagnose. Do not treat a patient. Do not get to a new system, a new environment, and start to deploy, diagnose, know what is wrong, know the exact level, the magnitude, the impact, the causative factors. And then when you know, you diagnose and you begin to design. Having diagnosed, having seen the problem, having known the problem, you design appropriate interventions to meet or mitigate the problem. And then you begin to deploy. After you have designed, after you have diagnosed, you design, you deploy, and then you demobilize. That's the point where you live. So when you diagnose, you understand the system from HR to account to finance to leadership to community to expert to every point, and then you design precise solutions. You have seen the problem, precise solutions. If you don't see the problem, don't prescribe, and then you administer the instrument, interact with the people, meet with them, support them, work with them, understand them, and then you demobilize. If you're a consultant, you won't stay there forever. You will leave. You demobilize and you hand over. But if you are working in the inside, maybe you are the L&D integration, you don't demobilize. You stay with the system and you're working with the system. You keep on coaching and supporting and assisting and helping them to get better and improve on the version of their job. Now, as I said, time is fast spent because I have to be shutting down now. But what I want to do is that I just give you a flow chart. This is a flow chart of how it runs. Number one, interact with top management to obtain full-scale understanding of the challenge, the organizational philosophy, inquiries, and engagement. I think before you do anything, they have called you, come and help us in the organization, come and support us. Say, okay, let me understand you. So you have inquiries and engagement. Two, you study supporting materials, industries, past records, or any other pointers, and revisit the briefs to clarify and bring more support. Thirdly, interact, sample, and dialogue with the staff members to gain their ownership, support, and cooperation about the entire exercise, and get familiarized with the system to harmonize both ends, what you hear from management and what the staff are hearing. And then you begin to design your evaluation tools. Do not design, do not download and design, do not copy and paste. Find out how the system, culture, philosophy, uniqueness is. Find out their industry, find out their mission, vision. If you download, excuse me, if you download an instrument that is not compatible, it's not going to work. And then you go to the next thing, which is what? Administration of evaluation tools, customized to suit the system and obtain internal input, provide continuous guides, support to ensure administration, and then the final one is harmonize your raw data and find this. Develop draft report and share draft preliminary report, deliver your final report, and then deliver your summary report. So how does OLLD come to here? L&D looks at this, it's called log frame. What is log frame? It's called logical framework. It helps you to identify an interface in managing L&D continuous activities. There's an input for management, and then there are activities. Then there'll be output, outcomes, and impacts. When L&D is designing interventions, it looks at the impact. It looks at the outcomes. It looks at the output. It looks at the activities. Now, the difference between the impact and outcome that you want to see the long-run impact of this program on the organization. And then the outcomes is in the short run. And then the output is that, is this thing working? Is it working? So L&D is planning, is monitoring, and is evaluating. It's planning, it's monitoring, and it's evaluating. We will be in some form of denial if we didn't see that execution is a true measure of success. In many organizations today, we talk so much, we say many things, but until we begin to execute, until we begin to bring them into reality, we may fail. Thank you so much. But before then, any questions, any comments?